backgrounds of our student athletes are as diverse as their talents. They come from near and far. Some stay home to become Wildcats. Others cross an ocean to get here. But when our student athletes come to Kentucky, many roads become one. The Kentucky Road. It's a road of opportunity, of learning, of growth, of service, of leadership, of competition. Our student athletes share in a one-of-a-kind experience, an experience specifically designed to challenge and empower young people to grow as students, as athletes, as people. Because the road isn't easy. You don't come to Kentucky if you want things handed to you. You come to Kentucky if you want to invest in yourself, in your teammates, in your school, in your community. In the end, it's all worth it. 4 years of investment, 40 years of return. When you exit the Kentucky Road, you take your road once more. You take that road having experienced something that transformed you, something that prepared you for whatever you might face. You might be stepping into the workforce, or you might be reporting to training camp. You might be off to grad school. You're turning pro. Whatever the future holds, you'll be ready. And wherever your road leads, you'll forever be a citizen of the Big Blue Nation. You took the Kentucky Road.
How you doing? I'm Liam Coen, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach at the University of Kentucky. Here today to speak about offensive strategy, specifically speaking third down, red zone, and then player touches, trying to get your best player of the football. Just to start off here, looking at our call sheet, okay? So our call sheet as is. This is our true call sheet. This is the front of our deal here. Just to go through some of the ways that we obviously game plan offense, okay? So we start off with our run game. We differentiate 12 personnel, 13 personnel, or bigger personnel groupings with our 11 personnel or speed packages that way. So we'll differentiate those in the run game. Our movements are any sort of move in the pocket, nakeds, escorts, all those kind of different things where we're trying to move the launch point for the quarterback and for the offensive line. Our play passes are true play pass, play action, run action passes. So those are things that we separate throughout this whole process. Drop back pass, don't have a ton of drop back pass in our first and second down game plan. That'll really start to go as you get into the third down world. On the bottom, we talk about our top hat beaters, which is just a man technique into bunches and stacks. That's something that we're always prepared for every week in man coverage. As you move up top, we're talking about quick game, which are 3-step drop concepts, empty, specials, screens. Just as notes here, 2nd and 1 to 4, 2nd and long. I just have a couple notes there as direct run or a shot on 2nd and 1 to 4. And then 2nd and long, our philosophy is we obviously want to get half to put ourselves in a manageable third down situation. This year, I believe we're 5th in the country on third down percentage. But that was a testament to our first and second down success and efficiency, running the football, being balanced on first and second down, and putting us in third and manageable situations. So as you start to move down, short yardage, okay? Short yardage for us is 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1, we need to get 1 yard. I believe we got all of them but one, which was against Georgia this past season. And then really we break up our third downs really based on the defense. So we start off with 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 to 3, 3rd and 4 to 6, 7 to 10, and 11 plus. But that will change at times week to week based on when does the defense change. And that will stay consistent as you move into the red area. But we want to make sure that our windows of third down and red zone are those in the reflecting when does the defense change? When do they make their differences? When do the coverages and structures start to change? And that's something that our staff breaks down every single week and lets us know when does the defense change. As I mentioned, we talk about the strike zone. In the red area, our strike zone is typically from the 30 to the 20, okay? When you're breaking it down in game one, all right, walking into a new program, our deal is 30 to the 20. Our true red area now is broken up to the 20 to the 11, 10 to the 3, and then our goal line packages inside the 3-yard line. As I just mentioned, though, those numbers and yardages can change. Okay, so based on when does the defense change? Specifically in the red area is when do they stop playing their base defense? Okay, when do they stop playing their base defense and start to play either some zero blitz, some red combo coverages, some bracket coverages? When does the non-normal base down coverages start to show up in the red area? That's what we'll try to break down and match up in our breakdowns for those down and distances in areas of the football field. As you move down this sheet here, every week we have unbalanced and tackle over plays. All right, we try to specify those. They're a little bit different. How does the defense line up to unbalanced? How do they handle tackle over? These are differences in a base run plan for us because of the way that the defense does react and structure themselves into unbalanced and tackle over situations, okay? Moving on down to the top 10, those are just our top 10 plays of the game. What we're going to open up our game with. That's a true opening script. We'll do that usually Friday night going into the game. And then our derby package is a no huddle deal. And then drive starters is obviously P and 10 situations when we're truly going to get the drive started. Really being efficient about those deals because it really has a big impact on that drive. You start off with a 2-yard run or an incomplete in a P and 10 situation, you just put yourselves in a bad situation on second down and leading to ultimately worse down and distances on third down, okay? Moving on to the back. So this is just a front and back of this call sheet that we use here in Kentucky. So up top, similar in the colors as third downs, we'll script our fourth downs. So these are your gotta have it situations, right? A lot of the times you're taking essentially your best 3rd and 1 call, 3rd and 2 to 3 call, 4 to 6, 7 to 10, 11 plus, but there are some specific times where you might need to be different. And that's something that we're going to be researching this offseason as a staff is getting better at fourth down, gotta have it situations. Like I mentioned before, we were pretty good on third down this year, but our fourth down percentages were not as successful as our third downs, and they're arguably more important. So, it was a situation where we probably took too many of our normal base third down calls that maybe we have run in that game in those windows. Well, we think as though moving forward, we need to be a little bit more specific on fourth down and put ourselves in a better position to be successful. Maybe give the defense some formations, motions, plays that they might not have seen throughout the course of the game, okay? Moving on down, we have 4-minute, which we do not practice very often. Backed up, we do not practice very often. I think we practice backed up one time all year. End of game situations. That's something that we practice every Thursday. We have our walkthroughs on Thursday. That's we do a fast Friday. Thursday is a true walkthrough for us, and we make sure we hit those end of game situations every Thursday because you just never know when they're going to pop. Never know when that thing's going to come up. I'll touch on this in a minute. Moving up top, sudden change. That's really just a note. You kind of go into your best play action depending on the feel of the game situation. Maybe a reverse or end around or jet sweep, something different maybe in a sudden change situation. But you guys all know as defensive coordinators, defensive coaches, sudden change, big alert for a shot, right? So that's not something that we always do is let it hunt. We just got to get a feel for the game. 2-point plays, another deal that we practice every week, okay? Especially with some of the rules in college football, games going forever and 2-point plays. You got to have enough 2-point plays to put yourself in a position to be successful throughout a number of overtime game. But I believe we only had one of them this year. We're 1 for 1. So we usually carry about 2 to 3. And then I think there was a game this past year that the game went into about 4, 5, 6 overtimes. They had to play multiple 2-point situation games. And you got to have a little bit more preparation that way. First half notes, that's just some notes that I'm going to write down as we go in the first half. And I think this was an important box for us that we ended up adding to the call sheet this past year is a self-scout tendency box. So this is our self-scout of who we are, okay, in down and distances as you see here. So on P and 10, going into this specific game, we were 60-40 run pass. Okay, as you start to move on down, you can see this is just a reminder for me as I'm studying the call sheet on Friday night and Saturday morning before the game is just a reminder to myself, okay, we've done a study throughout the week, but it's really good for me to have this tendency box to just lead me to help call a football play and prepare ourselves to put ourselves in a position to maybe break some of these tendencies throughout a game. And that's something that our staff did a really good job of putting together. It was really organized and clean for me to be able to read throughout a game, or more so prior to the game going into it. Second half notes, those are just things that we're going to talk about at halftime as a staff when we get together as a staff at halftime and talk about any sort of adjustments that we need to make moving forward for the second half. And then, as I mentioned, the player touches box. So our best player on the field last year for us was Wan'Dale Robinson. He was a receiver for us from Kentucky, transferred from Nebraska, dynamic football player. And I'm going to have in that box every single play in the game plan that goes directly to Wan'Dale Robinson. He's not the number 2 read. He's not the maybe read. The ball is going in his hands no matter what. And so that'll be a list of for us this year, it was probably about 10 each game at least. He ended up with 104 catches on the season, 1,300 yards, and had a great year for us this year. So this was an important piece. That can be multiple players, right? Your best players. I think we had our other receiver, Josh Ali, on there for a few games when he was healthy. The running backs are a little bit easier to get the football to because it's naturally you're going to hand them the ball if you really need to get them the football. But when you do need to find a creative way to get your best player and playmaker the football, I feel like it's something that you need to game plan specifically and be ready for on your call sheet. So in times of crisis, our philosophy here is think players, not plays. Okay, so in times of crisis or adversity, get the ball in my best player's hands. It might not necessarily be the best football play I like or the thing I want to dial up in that moment, but it's about players, not plays. So this was something I think we did a really nice job of as a staff putting together and making sure that our players knew exactly what situations that they could get the football and when they are truly the targeted number 1 read. As you kind of move on in the prep week, so this is an example of our cut-ups. So our staff does a great job. Our video staff does a great job of putting all this stuff together for us and making this information very seamless to be able to read, click on, watch, and have it all organized in a great way every single Sunday, Monday, as we start to really build a game plan. So we try to organize it by those down and distances. So we'll have each of those third downs broken up. We'll also have a third down broken up by personnel groupings, okay? As you start to move, we got our base downs, formation by coverage. We've got an all play, base down all play. And then as you kind of move down this screen, I don't want to go through every single one here, but specifically, we like to find out, okay, let's get all the double moves, right? Let's get every single time that this team's got beat on a double move. Let's see these corners' eyes get real dirty in the backfield so we can try to take advantage of that. Okay, moving on down. Empty, explosive pass. All right, FIB. That's a big deal in college football is formation in the boundary. You've got to be able to utilize the whole field and the hashes being different from the NFL game. Formation in the boundary can really simplify some defenses, cause them some issues, but also standardize their coverage structures. Okay, as we move down, we've got some of our specific play calls that other teams have run against this team that we're playing against and really trying to work on. We've got all the screens, okay? Like I mentioned on the front page, tackle over, trick plays, unbalanced. We break down 2 minute before the half and 2 minute at the end of the game. How do they change? What do they like to do in a 2-minute situation? Do they like to pressure? Do they want to drop in coverage? When it's a gotta have it situation in 2 minute, are they going to pressure you after a stoppage of clock? All these kind of things is what goes into the game planning of each situation that can maybe come up in a football game. And then as we move on down, 2-point plays, we got some 3 deep, 3 under fire zones. Okay, this is a big one now. This was a big one here. Third downs, bunches, and stacks tape. This was something that Jared Goff asked me for every single week for 3 years in Los Angeles. Was he wanted to be able to watch every single snap, whether it be first and second or third down, any situation, all the bunches and stacks. Because in this system, we do a lot of bunches and stacks. We try to create leverage for our receivers, create a little bit of softness for our receivers to be able to work off of man press, give our guys access. And we live in these bunches and stacks, so it's important as a player to understand how are they going to play the bunch? How are they going to play the stacks? Are they going to lock and level? Are they going to tango it? Are we going to play any sort of traffic rules, top hat, all these type of ways that defenses now have been able to play bunches and stacks? Well, we need to understand those rules as offensive coaches to be able to attack those structures in the right way. Okay, and then like at the bottom there, 4-minute, don't really watch too much of it. Really just going with your smartest runs that have multiple edges to take care of the edges on the offensive side of the ball. And then some fourth downs, okay? As we really break down the third downs, okay? So as we really move into this, if you're looking at situational football, okay, we've got to be able to practice third downs, red zone, just as much as we end up practicing the majority of our base game plan. Because arguably those positions, those situations of the game can really make or break you, okay? So this is, like I mentioned, how we break down those windows, but also just, you might not have been able to see it on that previous page, is underneath these windows, we'll put the defense's top coverages in there. So from our breakdown, these are the defenses that we're playing our opponents' top coverages in these windows. And it's just a little bit of a reminder as you're kind of going through the plan on Friday night, Saturday morning, as I mentioned, just as a quick reminder, okay, 3rd and 4 to 6, what is the defense giving me? What should I be hunting up here? Okay, so this is just a look at a detailed way that we break down our third downs and how the staff gives me some information as a play caller underneath those windows. This right here, guys, is a true playlist. So we don't work off of the playlist as much as it is a great use of organization, and it tells you the truth. It tells you the information that you need to know. You can sort it, okay, by coverage. This is right off of Exos. Our staff does a great job of putting all this stuff together, but really moving towards this column right here, all right, the SM column right there. And this is going back to Sean McVay's comments right there. So we haven't changed it, I guess. So it's all good that we have that, because it's easy for us to work off of and gives me some ideas. Okay, well, how is Sean seeing some of these things? And you can just see, this is just a play versus Iowa's defense versus Iowa State. We use that column to really just take notes as we're watching the film. Okay, double move on the safety. The next clip is against Penn State. That's a lock tango, assuming that that's probably a bunch or stack formation. Okay, you can see 97 nose, all right, corner not over and 1 by 3, 5 on 1-on-1, 5 on a 1-on-1 mismatch, lock and level, corners over 1 by 3. You just go down this deal here, all right, and those are just notes that our staff takes as they're breaking down the film and watching film. They'll take notes on this and be able to present it to me when they present either third down, red zone, okay? As you move over across this deal here, the way it's broken down is by quarter, the series in the game, down in distance. Obviously, we're talking about third down right now, okay? Field position, we try to filter out in the third downs. I don't want to see red zone in the third downs. I want a specific third down red zone cut up, because they're not going to play the same exact structures as they would in the red area, okay? So I want to know from really the +10 to where we, end our red zone or begin our red zone. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see 2-minute. We don't want 4-minute. We don't want any what we call special categories, okay? So you see 2-minute, 4-minute, D-lead. So if the defense is just blowing out the offense that we're playing, the defense that we're playing is blowing out the opposing offense, they might be playing a safer defense or a different structure that they might play if it's a real game and it's a 21-21 game. So I don't want to really watch. I'll watch it, but I don't really want it in the breakdown unless we tell these guys that break down all this stuff, unless it fits. If it fits who they are and what they've been doing consistently in those windows on third down, we'll keep it in the breakdown. But if it's an outlier, don't drive yourself crazy over an outlier. Well, man, they're playing this random snap of cover 2. If you really look at this whole breakdown right here, they play 2-man, some buzz fire zone, some 11 dog, 2-man should be moved up here, buzz fire zone, as I mentioned, there's one snap of true cover 2 in this whole breakdown. So let's go to it. True cover 2, that was a 2-minute situation. We can take that out of the breakdown. And so I'm not going to be thinking about attacking cover 2 with one snap in this whole cut up out of 37, it looks like, 36. Okay, so I want to know what are the top coverages that we need to attack, and what are maybe a few of the game plan coverages and front structures that they've played that we might need to be ready for. But I'm not getting ready to attack cover 2 when it's 1 out of 36. Okay, so this is just to give you an idea of how we break it down. This is exactly what we get. Some of this information, which is great, comes straight from PFF. And a lot of these ways that we break down and gather information is utilized through PFF as well. And then our guys obviously need to double check. So as you guys look across this board, when you get to the coverage column, well, next to it is the PFF pass coverage column. So PFF typically will have this broken down before we do. All right, and they just kind of give a general deal where 2M, well, that's 2-man. Was that right? Yeah, that was right. We also broke it down as 2-man. 3B, that for PFF, that's 3 blitz. Okay, a version of 3D fire zone, if you will. Well, we labeled it 33 buzz D, which is a fire zone coverage for us. As you move on down, same exact thing. Cover 44, that's a nickel coverage for us. They labeled it as 4. So they do a nice job, and we can utilize that as an asset and something to work off of, but our staff does all the breakdowns as well. So this is a playlist for us. This is what we see when we're breaking down film and what I'm looking at when we're in the Exo system. This is now our sheet that our coaches will do for our scouting report. So each coach has his own little area of the field, right? Third downs, red zone, backed up, coming out, 2-minute, 2-point plays, goal line, short yardage. All those things are broken up by a coach on staff that is responsible for that window, all right, that area of the field as their expertise, okay? So this is a form that our third down coaches that are responsible for this will fill out based on the data that you just saw. Okay, so what we're going to use in the cut up of 3rd and 2 to 3, all that information that you just saw on that previous page is now condensed into a sheet that is truly specific to the defense. There is really no offensive information on this sheet regarding teams that they played. There'll be some comments and things like that on the side, but I'll go through this sheet with you here. This is a sheet that we used in Los Angeles, and Sean thought it was very helpful. So as we look at it, we got the team that we're playing, the down and distance that we're in here, the games up top that we used in the breakdown. So it might be a 5-game break, might be a 4-game break, might be a 5-game break, but they played a team that was very similar to us from a philosophy standpoint earlier in the year that we went back and looked at and used that information, okay? And then the total plays for this down and distance is in the top right-hand corner, okay? As you move on this sheet now, all I want to know is what's the man zone percentage right here. This is all this is man zone. It has the coverage in that column, the number of times they ran that coverage, and what's the overall percentage of those man and zone coverages there. I also want to know man and zone pressure. So what are the differences in man and zone pressure, the percentages, the number of times they did that, okay? And then as you move on down, you see the total number there and the percentage that we can work off of. In the middle here, we've got basically middle of field open or middle of field close percentage and number, okay? And what are the coverage structures that they're playing in those middle of field close concepts and the middle of field open, very generic deal in the middle, okay? As you move down, this is coverage type by personnel grouping for the defense. So, and by us as offense. So it's kind of split. So as you see on the left-hand side, we had 11 personnel 8 times. They played nickel 8 times. Okay, they didn't play dime, they didn't play base, and then you go across the board, they played man 2 out of the 8 times. So they played zone 6, 75-25. Man pressure twice, 0 zone pressures, 4 middle field closed, 4 middle field open. They're pretty balanced in that window. Middle field open, middle field closed. And we'll do the same for all of the personnel groupings that are in that window of 3rd and 2 to 3 that we've broken down, okay? As you move on to the comments section, I do like a nice little overall pressure percentage at the top there, okay? That's in red. And then the coach that broke down this specific area of the field will then just give me some general comments, okay? General comments. The top call, they play 4-2 over 11 dog. It's good to know. That's their top overall call. That's their lead dog call. We'll play a split mug look. All right, 5 down call. That's a question mark that coach has for me and for our offensive line coach to really start to get our minds thinking, okay? Empty, really being specific about 2 clips of quarters, all right, and then it shows the Cincinnati LA Rams game, okay? I like to twist the man side of a protection call. That's really good to know. So those are just little comments right there. And then you look at it, this was early in the season game. It gives us the 2021 conversions, okay? And what has that team allowed conversion-wise leading up into our game? This is more of a statistic area right here, okay? We have our targets. Who did we target in the previous games on 3rd and 2 to 3? Because I want to know who the defense is being aware of, who they need to be aware of on 3rd and 2 to 3. All right, target position, that's really just talking about where did we throw the football? What kind of routes did we throw the football on 3rd and 2 to 3, okay? So that's really broken down in each window. And I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but now you go to 3rd and 4 to 6. Same exact breakdown, same exact deal. Got your comments right here, okay? 3rd and 7 to 10, same exact sheet. Broken up. Now we got a little bit more plays, 20 of them, all right? But the same information that we're gathering is now going to be clean and easy for us as coaches to understand and our players to understand in the scouting report. And as I mentioned, 3rd and 11 plus will be the next situation in 3rd down, and this is something that we continuously do. As I mentioned, we break down the 4th downs, talk to you guys about we're going to try to get better in these situations this year. And moving on to that, I'll show you a little bit in terms of the 4th down, same exact deal, okay? Same exact way that we try to, really break down and look at the 3rd downs. Well, let's take all of their 4th downs by down and distance right here, all the way down to 4th and 26, okay? Break it all down. As you can see, there's a few 2 minutes, all right? But does it match? Does the coverage match? Is it playing who they are? Those are all the things that go into this situation of getting better on 4th down right here, okay? Now, talking about the 3rd down known passing situations and how that we try to give our team, our players, all right, a recipe for success. So we believe in trying to give the defense man zone formations or man zone indicators to try to give our guys as much information on the picture that they're seeing right now, okay? So looking at some of the formations that we dove into this season to try to get our players the most information. So a lot of the times, guys, in 3rd downs, we will live in some 1-by-3 formations. So 1-by-3 formations for us is this is a tight end, and we have 3 receivers to one side, okay? A lot of the times when you go 1-by-3, this is like a slot formation, if you will, to the defense, right? So if it's a man coverage, they should be corners over, okay? They should be. But that's stuff that we need to know going into the week. If we line up in 1-by-3, are we going to get a man zone tell? If we displace the tight end, are we going to get a matchup man zone tell? Do we need to displace the back pre-snap to get a man zone tell? All we want to know is the coverage man or zone? Because when we go into this whole week, we know, well, their top lead dog calling man is 11 dog and 11 hole. Well, their top lead dog calling zone is 33 fire zone and cover 2. Well, now the quarterback knows it's zone right now. Okay, we're in a 1-by-3 formation, and this is a corner on a tight end. Well, that's not a matchup that they really want to live in if this was man coverage. This is zone for the defense. And we know that just by getting into a 1-by-3 formation. All right, so they're playing a little bit of a single high, 3 deep, 3 under fire zone, and late add-on right here by the will linebacker. Okay, so what we did here is, guys, we'll typically freeze you, all right, in a 1-by-3 or in a pre-snap, first formation. maybe get a freeze, maybe have a man zone can on to be able to put our team in a position that I'm not calling a man beater into zone and a zone beater into man. Yes, all of your concepts should have man and zone answers, right? Well, it's one thing to have answers, it's another thing to have beaters. And we'd like to be able to be in a situation where we can give our kids the most, ability to have success with beaters, not always just an answer. So this right here is one of our premier single high fire zone, concepts. All right, the skinny route up top, the spin route we call it, is the speed cut in. He's drifting a little bit to that post safety. That's not exactly what we're looking for, but we're getting a switch release out of this pack right here. Okay, we got a shallow cross that can sit down versus any sort of zoning defender out here. We've got what we call a 10-yard out down here on a 6-step speed out. Okay, working versus that leverage is pretty good physicality on that out cut. If we had soft and off free access down here, we can take this yes, no, 1, 2, 3, banging on this out cut right now. Well, pre-snap, Will doesn't really love this access, right? He doesn't like the yes, no based on the leverage of the corner. So he's going to work the concept side inside out, 1 to 2 to 3. Josh is drifting a little bit. We've got a great pocket though, understanding that it's going to be a single high free safety, free safety middle fire zone here, and we've got a really good beater on. Even though Josh drifts at the top, we end up scoring a touchdown. Great effort by 84 right here. Great effort by 17 and 86 down here. But that's a way of being able to understand, giving the players the tools to understand man and zone. Okay, really good pick up in the pocket, good throw and catch, touchdown. All right, now, same deal, like I mentioned, all right, early on in 3rd and 7. Well, when you don't know what they're always going to play, what we would typically do is displace the back in an empty, who's covering him, and if it's zone, we're going to bring him back into the backfield. If it's man, we will keep him out here. Why bring somebody back in for protection? All you're going to do is bring somebody and add them into the protection issues. So if it's man coverage, if we have a linebacker out on this running back, he's going to stay out there. Okay? If it's zone coverage, if you have a corner on the running back here, we're going to bring him back in the backfield because we may need him in protection versus zone pressure. Okay? So we're going to bring him back into the backfield. He got a little lost understanding where he was on the field here. All right? But we know the indicator is, right now, this is zone coverage. This is a corner. The will linebacker has bumped out of the box. But when they bump it all, that is zone. So again, now we're putting ourselves in a situation where we've got the man zone indicator. We look over to the sideline and get the play call. We are not a huge freeze team in general, but on 3rd down, I feel like giving the guys the best position to be successful in 3rd downs helped us with our conversion rate this season. So again, similar concept that you just saw us run in the previous clip is again versus a 2 deep over there, playing a little bit of a soft cloud. Weak side safety over here is trying to poach number 3 a little bit, late to get to the new number 3 in this picture right there. And we'd be able to hit that, spin route right in that hole. Quarterback's a little bit late, but we're being able to take the defense to school, understand the philosophy of what the defense is trying to get done. See Will, he's bringing the back in the backfield, knowing that it's zone coverage, and then we just give the O-line the protection call. The receivers and quarterbacks and skill players got the signal, and we're ready to roll. Great rhythm at quarterback. He truly read this thing 1 to 2, which led him to be a little bit late. This shallow cross right here for us is just a little bit of an alert versus man. He can shut it down versus zone. That's not great sit-down technique. All right, good pass pro, really good pocket, and we've got a nice easy completion on 3rd down. 3rd and 6, earlier in the season, again, displacing the back. All right, displacing the back in a 1-by-3 formation. Same as the last one. So if we're not sure going into a game if the defense is going to give us a man zone tell based on formation alone, we will displace the back, okay, at number 1 and empty to truly make the defense identify who is going to guard him. All right, so again, right here, we got a DB, right? DB and a safety went out. okay? No linebacker went out. He's trying to point him out, all right, but they're all jacked up here, okay? They're all jacked up. They're going to end up bringing a fire zone pressure right here, okay? And we're going to run a little bit of a bait dig, if you will, okay? So they're playing a little bit of a two deep fire zone. I got to believe somebody's supposed to have this void right here. We picked this thing up really nicely, understanding that it's a zone pressure, and we've got this high-low right here. Really good route right here, trying to clear out this weak side safety, and then we've got a nice little high-low on the hook defender. But understanding that, giving your players the success rate of, okay, if I'm running this route right here, I'm the point man. This is what we call a special route. A special route's going to either take the middle versus two high, run to the opposite hash versus single high, and really run away versus man. Well, he knew, based on the coverage structure and how we talk about this, let the receivers, they need to see all this. Okay? They need to see when the back's displaced, and they're not even looking right now, they should be looking over at the right side to see who's with the back. Why wouldn't you want to know? Right? So give your guys the most, little tools. We go on the freeze. We understand that it's zone coverage, and now we can quickly call a man beater and get this fire zone picked up. We're in great shape. Good throw and catch. So Will knows as soon as the play has barely even been set yet, and he's bringing him back in already, understanding that it's zone coverage. All right, there's your fire zone look. Get the defense set. We got a really good protection call on right now, and we're in really good shape to be able to throw and catch that bait dig. All right, same deal now, 3rd and 9. Again, now this wasn't every single game, right? If we can get a man zone tell based on formation alone, we don't need to always displace the back. But versus certain teams that don't go corners over and play man coverage, we need to do this. So again, displace the back. We know this is a corner on the back. It's going to be zone coverage for us. All right? We go on the freeze, get a new play. They don't change. This can get tricky now if defenses want to do some check to check. And that's where we need to play with tempo and just use some all-purpose plays, have some more answers than beaters, okay? But if we can get man zone tells and they're not going to check to check and just sit in this coverage that we already know what it is, well, we should have a pretty high success rate. Same deal, right? Same exact deal. We got coverage. We know it's zone coverage, okay? We don't love this matchup, right? This is a tight end on a corner. I don't love that matchup to throw this 6-step speed out, but I really like this bait dig. Could have taken a chance down the pipe. He's really rolling right there, but it's 3rd and 7. We don't need that shot right now. All right, there's your good bait dig high-low. All right, all eyes are on Wan'Dale Robinson. There's Josh Ali coming on the spin route. Love him to be a little bit more flat through that 35-yard line, but nonetheless, another good throw and catch. It also allows your offensive line to get a pre-snap picture of this defensive structure and coverages and stunts and twists and blitzes that you could potentially see here. All right, as you get up to the line fast, we would do a lot of this from a no huddle where we just go, it's 3rd down, we have 11 personnel on the field. Well, let's try to keep their base defense, if you will, on the field, or let's keep nickel on the grass and not let them sub to a dime cut package. All right, so these are all the little things that we try to do. Great job by Will, peeking that weak side safety in any sort of 1x3 or 3x1 formation. If this weak side safety were to have rolled and we like this matchup, we can throw that one-on-one out right there. But the weak side safety is off the hash to start. He stays off the hash, so Will knows that is dead, and he's going to now work the concept side. His eyes starting to build and gradually gain on that hitch to throw that football. Now, 3rd and 12, earlier in the year, okay? Now, we're in empty, right? We've displaced the back. This is a linebacker right here, number 12. That's a linebacker from this team right here. So we know, and a lot of you guys probably know just by looking at this picture, that it's man, right? This is a very clear man-to-man look, deep safety, man-to-man, man-to-man. This is a gotta-have-it situation, 3rd and 12. We're up by a touchdown later in the game. But, all right, if your players don't just know by looking, We have to give them information or else we're doing them a disservice. So we're putting the back displaced, letting everybody know that this is man coverage. There's no questions. There's no, safety was kind of lean and this guy looked like he was blitzing, could be a fire, whatever. No, dude, it's man. Let's treat it like man. Let's call a man beater in a premier situation of the game and try to be successful. So this is 3rd and 12, and we go with one of our base, actually quick game concept plays, not really built for 3rd and 12, but kind of going back to one of my previous, comments earlier in this talk was it's about players, not plays. And we knew as a staff, Wan'Dale Robinson's our best football player. This guy hadn't guarded him much, hadn't really clamped him all game. He's got kind of crappy leverage for this concept, but trusting your players to make plays in big-time situations. And we had a lot of success with this play throughout training camp, and these guys had a great rapport for throwing this ball right here. So 3rd and 12, we looked over, got a play because we knew it was man, and this ball was going to one place and one place only, and that was to number 1. And he ends up winning on the slot fade. Quarterback does a great job of holding the post-high safety. A little bit too much movement here by Will in the pocket, but big-time throw and catch to really close out this game for us. Like, why we don't bring the back in, all right? If we were to bring the running back in right now, understanding that it's man coverage, we were to bring this running back in, and he's in protection, and he dilly-dallies at all, he's going to get green-dogged. They will add on the back. So why would we want to try to add a 6th rusher into the picture? Let's keep it clean. We have a good 5-man box right here. The O-line, it's very clear who they're blocking. When you bring the back in man coverage, all you've done is muddy the picture and potentially allow yourself to get green dogged. So we leave him out there if it's man coverage. This is a great situation. Now we've got great protection. Great protection inside, right there. We got our 2 big bookends on the edge. Really good throw and catch, okay? As we move into the strike zone, okay? Talked about it earlier. We break it down. 3rd to the 20, 20 to 11, 10 to 3, goal line. All right, 2 and in, really. But as I mentioned, this can change. Like this could go 20 to 12. This could go 20 to the 9. It could go 22 to the 13. It all just depends on when the defense changes and they start to play more red zone specific coverages, okay? And then same as 3rd down, underneath there, they're going to give me the top coverages. All right, so if you can see that right there, they've got base downs, BD. Base downs in the strike zone, this team is going to play a form of 3 deep in the strike zone. As you move down, base downs, they're playing 11 hole, all right, or any sort of 3, okay? Then, as you can see, guys, 3rd and medium, all right, zone, 3rd and long, man. Down here, 3rd down, 0 blitz inside from the 10 to the 3. Big thing you got to know, or we would like to know, is when do they want to activate 0 pressure? They want to activate 0 pressure, we need to be 0 ready as a staff and as players. Same deal as 3rd down. This is our playlist. So our receivers coach, Scott Woodward, he breaks down red zone for us, okay? So this is what he's going to present to me on Wednesday night. He will present this cut-up. So this is a 28-play cut-up that he's filtered through, that he's determined that the strike zone, obviously right there at the plus 29, and then all the way down to the 3-yard line. As you can see, and you move across this deal here, guys, it's big for me in the red zone where you see play description all the way to the right. So this is Scott's ideas, okay? He's going to bring me this cut up. He's going to present the information. This is what they like to do. This is who they are in these situations. But he will also give me ideas and descriptions of plays that he thinks can work based on the clip that he's showing me. So you can see the 5th one down, reverse. All right, Shanker's a play for us. Fake reverse. All right, Hawkeye, double move. All right, match up with number 3. It might be general ideas because sometimes as a play caller, it's hard to get true just calls from somebody. It's hard. But when you get ideas or just vague ideas, it's nice so then you can start to put it together in your mind of how it can match who we are and how it can match our system and for our players, okay? So as we move into the red zone, similar now to third downs. We all get this sheet, all right? Our players get this, our coaches get this. Scott Woodward breaks this down as Josh Estiswa and CJ Conrad break down the third downs. These guys do the red zone. Woody does it, same exact deal. By personnel, okay, middle field open, middle field closed. Third downs in the red zone. G-bot, that's get back on track, 2nd and 10, okay? And then we want to know what are they specifically, on third down in the red zone. All right, and then their comment section right here. All right, comment section right here. Big thing we need to know in the red area. When to expect drop 8 and when to expect 0. All right, those are different structures. Specifically, if a team's a 4-man front playing base cover structures behind it, well, that's different, right? That's different. Those are not third down coverages. Those are red zone specific to the team that we're playing. All right, same thing that goes for the red zone 10 to the 3. All right, now talking about a little bit of a strike zone examples here. So it's a little bit outside the 30-yard line. That's okay. This is a strike zone for us. Okay, we want to take a shot. All right, not always, but versus some teams, let's try to take a shot here. All right, and this was another kind of look-over situation where we ended up getting a premier look for this concept. We're going to end up throwing it back to Wan'Dale Robinson off of a little bit of a quick mock fake escort play pass for us. Backside receiver is going to hold down that corner, and we just got to beat that safety to the back pylon. One hitch, great protection, good throw and catch, but that was something that we had executed really well going into the game, going in from training camp, all right, and it really showed up as we prepared for this first game that we were playing to put ourselves in a position to call this play, get Wan'Dale open. These guys executed at a high level. Now, as we start to move, all right, we're on the 15-yard line. They started to play. They were not a man team. You guys saw on third down, they didn't play one snap a man. All right, as we moved into the red area, they like to pop a little bit of man coverage. Well, we've got another 1-by-3. We've got a 1-by-3 coverage right here. All right, formation. Here's our tight end that a lot of people treated as a receiver. All right, so we've got known man coverage. We're going to run and get our best player on a choice route. So Wan'Dale right now has a choice route. He can either break in, break out, or sit down versus zone. All right, there's a great hesitation release. There's putting it on him versus man. That's a win for us. Go score, be special with the football. That's what he does. All right, another strike zone. All right, we knew we were going to get a cover 2 in this situation. So we're running a little bit of what we call a shank pump or a scissors pump. So we've got a scissors concept right here. They do a great job passing it off to the safety. That was the plan, was, hey, pass this off. Now we've got the corner pinned when we turn it up on the double move right here. Great job by the tight end selling it with his eyes. Great protection up front. And we've got a big-time throw and catch for a touchdown in the strike zone, which was truly game planned for that specific situation. We called this throughout the week on this situation on both hashes all week. Just right around the 30-yard line. So that was great to see that carry over. And then as we moved into the low red, playing against Vanderbilt right here, we're getting a man coverage. We knew we were going to get either a zero hole, a true cover 0 where they weren't pressuring, or they were going to play saw dog cover 0. So we knew we were going to get a max pro play pass off of a little bit of our duo wrap here. Okay, so 84 is coming around like he's wrapping around on duo play. And then we're just going to run our X cross deal here. So both receivers are crisscrossing to the back pylon here, running away from leverage, trying to strike a match and get a little bit of a rub for each other. Wan'Dale ends up popping wide open to the back pylon. Good throw and catch. Great protection, good execution of the play. Going against Louisville as we move into the low red, we knew we were going to get some shape or form of zone coverage. But again, we are in a 1-by-3. So this is our big 6'5", 260-pound tight end. That's a corner. This is zone. We know it's zone. So we're running a little bit of a stick draw concept versus a light box. All right, putting him in a bind right here. And now we've got a really good football play, walking touchdown. But understanding that it's zone. Giving your players the indicators to be successful. And then last but not least, just Like I mentioned, the player touches box, making sure that you're being diligent and detailed about putting your player, your best football player, in the best position to touch the ball as many times as you need him to. Because like I mentioned earlier, it's about players, not plays. And that was a great philosophy for us and our staff this year. And really appreciate your time.